how do you think? Because one thing that's unique about LeBron, and look, it may end up being the case for the players of this generation and going forward. Kawhi, he's going to be, he's been a Spur, he's been a Raptor, he's been a Clipper. He may even move on to another team for all we know, but he's won, he won championships with his first 2 stops. So what's he going to be remembered as? Back years before, Rob, most of the guys who were in that upper echelon are affiliated with one team. Magic, a Laker. Kareem, even though he started his career in Milwaukee, he's viewed as a Laker. Bird, obviously a Celtic. Jordan, a Bull. That's just how it was. What do you think LeBron will, be remembered as? Would it be Cleveland, even though he only won one of his championships?
No, it would be Miami
there?
because he upset the apple cart and ruined the NBA. So I still believe that
Is it ruined?
Yeah, it was ruined by LeBron, yes. And that's why LeBron, who cried that it wasn't fair when the Warriors got
You are
KD.
just making all types of assumptions.
No,
is there a video of LeBron crying that it's not fair because the Warriors got KD?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Where is that? I haven't
There's
seen
video.
that.
We got the audio.
Okay.
There's the audio right there. Be quiet.
All right.
LeBron, go ahead.
Just full of fibs.
LeBron, what? Oh, you said you could have beat the Warriors if KD didn't join? Yeah, I get it. I understand. But you put together a super team in Miami, little one, didn't you?
Little one.
Is your diaper wet? Do you need me to change your diaper?
Enough!
Are you okay?
Get to the point. All right.
But my point is that I forgot my point because but no.
What's he going? You said he'll be remembered as a Miami
Heat. Yeah.
Really? So that's interesting. I get what you're saying because obviously that's where he made the power move.
It altered the league. It did.
But so you really think though, out of all, he will be remembered as a Heat player versus a Cav or a Laker?
Yep, I think so.
Wow. That's interesting. I mean, I think I got a few things to say about that. Number one, if I had to pick a team, assuming even if he wins a championship or 2 with the Lakers, I still don't know that I still don't think he'll be thought of as a Laker, as before his other teams. I think, honestly, if I had to pick a team, I would probably say Cleveland because he started his career there. He was from there. He went back there and he delivered them their first major championship in 52 years in any, football, basketball, or baseball. So there's that. But I'm going to say something else, Rob. And I got to give credit to Rick Bucher, our colleague at FS1. He was our colleague back at the former place. He and I used to do these online debates where we would, debate like basically via text. Like, it'd be a story about it on the website for ESPN.com. And we were debating LeBron. And this was early. This was his first stint in Cleveland. And he said that he's talked to some people around the league, and they think Wilt Chamberlain might be the best comp or comparison to LeBron James. He said, it may not be Mike, it may not be Magic, it may be Wilt. And I got to be honest, now, 17 years into LeBron's career, I do think that is the best comparison for LeBron James. Now, you say, well, Wilt Chamberlain was a center. He played in the post. How in the world are you comparing him to LeBron James? Here's how. Wilt Chamberlain, Robin, you know this. There was no doubt he was the best player in the world. He was better than Bill Russell. Individually.
Changed the rules in the league for him.
Right. It was
that's
ridiculous.
all you need to know.
Not to mention he averaged 50 and 26 one year. 50 points, 26 rebounds. And the 26 rebounds wasn't even his career high. 27 was his career high. He did that twice. He averaged 45 points one year, 38 points one year, 37 points 2 years. His numbers are ridiculous. 39 one year. So he was clearly the best player on the planet. But Rob, he won 2 championships in 14 seasons. Only 2 in 14, and it's similar to LeBron.
LeBron could wind up with 3 and 20.
Right. there's a very good chance. Now, again, I give him a chance to win this year, and assuming we play and next year.
I'm just saying, but
you're absolutely right. It could easily happen. He has 3 championships in 20 years, or even if it's 4, it's still 4 in 20 years. So Bird won 3 in 13 years. Magic won 5 in about 13 years. I think it was 12 before he had to retire because of the HIV. But, Jordan, he still got 6 in 15 years. So, but 3, it could be 3 in 20 years. So that's similar. Right now it's 3 in 16 years. So you could compare that to 2 in 14 with Wilt, even though he's been the best player in the world. The other thing, well, let me stay there for a minute, Rob. I think one of the reasons Wilt didn't win more championships was because he was so individually dominant and his teams were solely based around him and his individual dominance. And it's interesting, if you look at the years he won his championships, his first championship was in like his 10th season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10th season. And he only averaged 24 points a game, which to that point was his lowest of his career. And in his second championship was in his second to last year with the Lakers. He only averaged 14 points that year, 15 points. And so he was playing a more of a team game. It wasn't that he still couldn't put up 30, 35 points a game, but he played more in the team unit. He was rebounding like crazy. He was passing the ball. The year he won the championship, when he averaged 24 points, he averaged 8 assists. So he was being more in the system rather than being the system. And I think with LeBron, remember B.J. Armstrong said one of the great things playing with Mike played with 3 dribbles, right? So he wasn't dominating the ball all the time.
Dribbling the air out of the ball.
Right, and LeBron becomes the system. We know that. There's a LeBron system. Everywhere he's been, they play the same way. It's all based around him, which is a credit to him because he's so great and he can do so much. But I don't care how great you are as one man. You're not winning. You're not going to beat a great team of 5 guys that play together. Michael Jordan, as great as he was, didn't win it, Rob, until Phil Jackson got there and brought in the triangle. When he was doing it all by himself, they didn't win it. Wilt, same thing. LeBron, to a certain degree, there's that element. The final reason I think he's similar to Wilt is because Wilt played with 3 franchises too. The Philadelphia Warriors, then they became the San Francisco Warriors. Then he was traded from there to the Philadelphia 76ers. Then, of course, he went to the Lakers. And so he played with 3 teams. It's hard to pick what team you think of Wilt as. I guess as a Sixer maybe, but it's similar with LeBron. So I think Wilt is a very good comparison. That LeBron is kind of the modern day Wilt Chamberlain. What are your thoughts?
And also, that's not that far off. And imagine if Wilt had time to practice with his teammates and he wasn't so busy having sex with everybody, he might even be.
Why did I even say that? Cool. Of course. I forgot that dude's name. Who? What's the dude that just laughed?
Kawhi?
No, that wasn't Kawhi.
Oh, no, Craig Melvin. Craig Melvin.
Of course he liked it. He laughed. Can I hear that again?
Craig Melvin from NBC News. He's on the Today Show.
I know. I forgot how to
sorry, but I would just I just had to throw that in there for people who don't know about Wilt Chamberlain. But anyway, no, that's a fair comparison. I think that is the case. And 3 championships, as you said, in 16 compared to Wilt 2 in 14. And LeBron has another this year, and at least 2 more, maybe 3. Right. Who knows?
It could be 3 and 20, Rob.
So you're not all. 20.
I mean, I hope it's not, but it could be.
Yeah, and that would be. I mean, at least he won a couple, multiple, and that would be fine. But it would, when you consider how dominant his stats are, and when you look at, he could beat Kareem out for the most points. Right. You know what I mean? He'll be that guy, but only have 3 championships. That would say something.
But it's so similar because Wilt, because he didn't play as long as Kareem and other guys, he doesn't have the all-time records, you know what I mean, as far as longevity records. But individual seasons and stuff, I mean, he owns them all. And LeBron could end up owning the longevity stats, assists, top 5, scoring tops. You know what I mean? Like he could do things no one's ever done, like Wilt. But to your point, only 3 championships possibly in 20 years. And what it'll do, Rob, is it'll put a serious dent into, like, those that are going to want to argue LeBron's the GOAT because he's the all-time leading scorer, top 5 in assists, and so on and so forth. It'll put a dent in their longevity argument. You know what I mean? Because you'll be able to actually turn it around on them and say, well, Jordan won 6 and essentially 11 years, Rob, because one, he played 17 games when he came back from basketball or baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
And
you could throw that one out.
Right. And remember his second year in the league, he broke his foot.
And missed
only played like 18 games. Yeah, so throw those 2 out and throw Washington out. He had 11 full seasons in Chicago and won 6 rings.
That's incredible.
It really is. And so that it'll be interesting if it ends up being 3 titles in 20 years.
Let's start out with Cowboy in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
Oh, hi, Chris and Rob. Well, I think LeBron's more comparable to Wilt because I remember Wilt didn't, even though he was scoring 50 points a game and 40 and 38 and those numbers of points, he didn't win until he, I think, led the league in assists. That was his first title in his 10th year, and I think he did it another time and also won the title. And LeBron's averaging about 10.5 assists this year, and he's leading the league. And I think that when LeBron was able to play with a couple of more Hall of Fame types, and he didn't have to do everything himself, that's when he won. And now, the reason mostly that Russell won 11 titles and Wilt 3 was Wilt played with, as I recall, only about 3 other Hall of Famers, and Russell played with 11. So it's a little 11 or 12. So it's a little kind of unfair to talk about Russell. Well, he was the greatest winner of all time, but a lot of people like to say that when I was young, they used to say Wilt was a loser. Well, nobody's calling LeBron a loser, but people are saying that he's in no way comparable to Michael or Magic. Well, that's kind of unfair too. But he's more comparable to Wilt, I think, than Jordan or Magic or anybody like that.
All right. Hey, Cowboy,
he said
thanks,
a mouthful.
man.
That was a good call.
He used to call my other show in Detroit, Parker and the Man.
Okay. Is he from Detroit?
From Windsor. Right across the river.
Canada. Okay.
Yeah, from Canada. So I know Cowboy, good guy. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Chris,
one thing I'll say is this. Wilt played 5 years with the Lakers. 4 of them he was healthy for the full season. Remember, he played with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Gail Goodrich. So he had plenty of Hall of Fame teammates with the Lakers. They only won 1.
No doubt. How about Darnell in Tacoma, Washington? You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Darnell, what you got?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys. I want to say that I hope I didn't get cut out.
No, we got you. We're listening.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
I just wanted to say, when you talk about the GOAT and you talk about LeBron and Michael, I like to look at the career that Michael had with the people that he played against, as opposed to the career LeBron is having with the people that he's playing against. So I think Michael had more Hall of Famers when he played as opposed to LeBron.
You mean that he went up against, or did he play with?
No, that he went up against. I'm talking about in the league when Michael was playing, there were more Hall of Famers doing his career in the league as opposed to when LeBron is playing in the Hall of Famers.
I don't agree with that.
I
don't think that's right. Because you're going to
do.
have just as many Hall of Famers now.
I think because it's hard to look at it now, Chris, because you could look back and go, when Michael first came in the league and the Celtics had 3 or 4 guys, and you looked at Patrick Ewing was a Hall of Famer, Isaiah, Joe Dumars. I wonder if you were to count them up and start to look at those players, because we always talk about the 10 Hall of Famers who didn't touch a title during Jordan's reign.
Right.
And I wonder, I think that's really, to me, that's one of the big tests, is when you look at the guys who didn't win. And when you look at LeBron's era, whether it's his fault or not, everybody ate during the LeBron era.
Right.
Is that fair?
Yeah, you're right about that. He didn't keep guys from winning championships like Jordan did.
Right.
But I think there's going to be just as many Hall of Famers. I mean, obviously the Warriors got 3 at least if you count Durant, and 4 if you count Draymond. You got James Harden's going to be a Hall of Famer. Kawhi, Paul George probably will be. You know, like we can go on. I mean, there's every era is going to have their number of Hall of Famers. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with that aspect, but I actually think you made a good point about comparing players to, you know, your era and who you played against.